Thanks for tuning in. You're listening to the Stir Up Life podcast.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time you're tuning in at today. We're glad you can join us and that you can enjoy the time we have together. Today, if you don't know, is National... Sorry, I had my list and now I completely forgot. But National Say Something Nice Day. So I just want to say, I think you're awesome and wonderful and you're listening to us. So you clearly have something to offer the world and we appreciate you.
Yeah, you have a severe lack of judgment, that's for sure. Sorry, say something nice. You're pretty.
In spite of Say Something Nice Day, let's talk about America and let's talk about guns.
Oh gosh, really? I'm gonna go off if we talk about this, man.
Because I am personally pissed off. Because
about what's
right
happening
before
to
I
our-
came down here, Katie just read me a story about how a deaf man was shot by a police officer in America over this past week. And he was driving, and the police officer was following him, trying to pull him over, and I guess he didn't notice him. He couldn't hear him because he's freaking deaf.
Don't they have lights?
Yeah, but I guess he wasn't looking. Anyways, so
How do you not?
he eventually pulled over, and he was talking to the police officer in sign language because he's deaf, and the police officer shot him. Isn't that fun?
How does the police in the States are?
According to the people in the neighborhood that know him and his family, because his brothers are deaf, they said from what they saw, it looked like he was speaking to him in sign language, and then
They saw it?
Yeah, and he got shot.
Oh man!
And also, the article pointed out how the build of this guy he was very skinny and lanky, and so it didn't make sense that the officer couldn't detain him in a different way other than
shooting him.
It leading to that, and that's grody. And I think that if you feel like you need a gun, then you're an idiot. Which
I don't know,
is
man.
going
It
to
seems
offend
like
a lot of
people
people,
need-
man.
I think people need guns to protect them from the cops with guns.
Well, it's just like after school shootings. Wow, this is going to be quite an episode.
Oh, when
They wanted to
they
give
were-
teachers guns.
guns, yeah.
Um,
That's also wild, but
it's just wow.
instead of fixing the problem, fixing the problem of too many guns and not enough control over said guns in the country, we're just going to give more guns to people.
Yeah.
I don't even want to go into everything that's happening with Black Lives Matter because it enrages me that the cop thought it was okay to basically you heard about this stuff, right?
Yes.
I forget.
And I told
forget
Isaac
the
about it
gentleman's
last night.
name.
Lloyd?
What was
He
his
has
name?
been arrested and charged, and the guy's name is George Floyd.
George Floyd. We can't forget him because this is ridiculous. The poor man was arrested. You know what he was arrested for?
I actually don't know that. No.
He was arrested for supposed writing a false check, so fraud.
Yeah.
And the cops thought it was okay for him to sorry.
Family friendly.
Yeah, sorry. Bleep that out. He thought it was okay to put his knee on his neck.
Dude was
until he
being
couldn't breathe
calm.
anymore.
Dude
Yeah.
was being calm.
Dude was saying, "I can't breathe," and the guy's like, "Nope, I'm not gonna move."
Didn't even say
then he-
anything.
And then he literally suffocates to death. And then after this, some idiot self-defense coach posted on Twitter that like he had one of his students put his like do the same thing basically to him. He's like, it's been a while, I still haven't choked to death. He was immediately fired.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think he should have been fired out of a cannon into the sun, but
Wow.
that's we can't have our cake and eat it too.
It
is infuriating what's happening in the States under Trump.
Now it's all okay. I mean, Trump is president, but it's not specifically because of Trump that this is happening.
No, but it's because Trump lets stuff like this slide that it's getting that like these people think it's okay to do, you know?
Yeah.
Under Obama, stuff like this was, I mean, it still happened. Obama was like, all right, that guy's out of a job.
Well,
and probably in jail.
For a couple days, they were fired, but there was no charges pressed. And I think yesterday it came out that the guy that actually murdered him was charged, but they set bail of $500,000.
I didn't know that you could have bail for murder.
You usually don't.
It's wild, man. The ingrained racism in the police system in the States is ridiculous.
It's grody.
It is disgusting that these police officers who also don't get enough training. It's like 6 months and then you're out on the beat.
Yeah.
I just can't do it.
It's a mess.
It's a hot mess.
It doesn't make sense to me at all. And you think that we'd have a better screening process?
No, because the NRA couldn't get more guns out there.
No, I'm not even talking about like the NRA. I'm talking about for police.
Oh man, I don't know.
Because you'd think there'd be a higher standard for people that are supposed to uphold our laws.
Well, I don't know about policing in Canada. I haven't heard a lot of stuff like this coming out of Canada.
No, I'm just talking about I'm saying
The world.
but I'm talking about like
I think
inclusively
honestly
everywhere.
I don't know. It's wild to me.
Yeah. And like this is why we need to talk to our kids about racism, because it's kind of ingrained in you. You're not born with that kind of hate. That's the kind of hate that's taught or learned from something.
Yeah. Absolutely. Hate and ignorance. It's a lot of ignorance. There's this book that this guy wrote. I think it was called Black Klansman. It's about this. No, that might be a different book. But there was this guy who basically made it his life mission to reach out to a lot of people who were in the Ku Klux Klan and actually get to know them and talk with them. And he got like a bunch of them to leave because they only, exactly like you said, they grew up not knowing that, black people aren't monsters. Their parents taught them that, but it's crazy.
Yeah. That kind of hate just doesn't make sense to me because it's literally just a skin color. Like, they're still people, obviously. You are still a person, and you are still a person. And the guy working at the gas station down the street from me is still a person. Like, who cares what they look like? And it makes me so, so mad.
Mm-hmm.
Isaac and I have talked about this a couple times at the Bible study.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You're not specifically black, which is what's going on right now, Sergio, but have you ever dealt with any ignorance in that way?
Ignorance about what, my race?
Just because you're from a different country? Well, your parents are from a different country?
Well, I am too. I was born in Portugal. But no,
sorry.
because I've always been white as the driven snow. So
Yeah.
you don't get a lot of that. You don't get these issues if you don't get nearly as much.
Yeah.
And especially because I grew up here in Canada, I came over when I was a baby, so like I knew English was my first language.
Yeah.
You don't get a lot of xenophobia if you're white and you speak English properly, like with a,
Mm-hmm.
an accent that people know.
Yeah.
And unlike, I don't know.
I was just wondering.
No, I got much more teased for my chubbiness and for my glasses than anything else.
Oh my gosh.
You wear glasses.
No, for real. I thought it was wild too. I'm like, are you serious? Are you literally teasing me for my glasses? Okay.
I'm not. I don't appreciate. I'm not like an abusive parent, but if I ever catch Noah being rude like that to people, I'm gonna beat the crap out of him.
That is like, yeah.
I'm just kidding.
When I become a parent, that's like my biggest fear. Like that my kid will turn into. But they won't because we're gonna teach them properly, right?
Yeah. We had mentioned before when that first shooting happened with the civilians. They shot down that black guy. That was jogging.
Those two he was an ex-detective and
his
his son.
Yeah.
They decided to take justice into their own hand and kill who they thought might have been a burglar or something.
Even though he was jogging in the neighborhood
He was
lived in.
jogging. It doesn't matter. Even if he was a burglar, what they did is wrong.
Yeah.
You can't be a vigilante unless you're Batman and you knock the person out.
Well, even Batman
and
has the
not
top
murder
store
them
after
like
him
Batman
plenty,
does.
and the law go against him. Like
That, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
like you can't be a
you can't
vigilante
really take
because it's
justice
bad.
into your own
Yeah.
hands, even though that's a whole nother thing too with our country and everything. But I don't.
Yeah.
Well, Katie and I.
You
oh,
might
sorry,
have to
go
cut this
ahead.
part. Just gonna put that in there first. Sergio, I remember one time that you did deal with racism a bit. At Emmanuel,
When?
in the dining hall
really?
one time,
When?
they called you a fob or something.
A fob, fresh off the boat, even though I've been here my whole life.
Yep, some people said that to
When was
not let
this?
you sit at the table. Our first year,
What?
Yeah.
I don't
because I asked you after, because I didn't know what that meant, and so I had to ask you, and because I had no idea. I'm I came from Collingwood, and this isn't something I deal with in any way, but so I was I had to ask you after to find out what it meant, and it's still for weeks after I felt so bad because I'm how did people do that kind of thing? And
I don't even remember that. Jeez. Who was it? Well, maybe let's not say
Yeah,
who it
that's-
was.
yeah,
But
Um,
gosh,
man, why can't people just love?
I don't even get it. It's like a
So
Bible
easy.
college, and you're making jokes like that. Not acceptable.
right.
Unacceptable.
Anything that
It's
makes someone different.
If you're different, we don't like you.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, different in any way.
Yep.
Like you said, you got made fun of for being chubby. My mom did too. People they'd go, "Suey," to call her to come over.
Oh, that's. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
Darn
it's
it.
fine.
darn it!
I don't even care. I'll just do a
family-friendly.
bleep noise.
Yeah.
It's fine. But that's
Oh, man,
so disgusting.
That honestly, when people made fun of me for my weight, it was way worse than anything else. I remember that clear as day. There's this one kid I used to play soccer as a kid, and I don't anymore because I didn't like to do it because there
Yeah.
were kids on the team that were just the worst kids. This is skinny little toothpick of a boy. I'm trying to watch my expletives. I remember one day, it was like this is a day that I know I never want to play soccer ever again. He would like be like, oh, I don't want to kick the ball, you touch it, you'll give me your fat. And I was like a kid, and as a kid I was bad at I didn't know what to say. I just kind of stood there like, well, now I don't want to ever play soccer again. It was the worst.
It ruins everything.
It was just, to this day, I feel terrible about what that kid said. And if I met him on the street and he asked for forgiveness, I'd kick him in the nads and punch his face, and then I'd forgive him. When you're 6 or 7 or 8 years old and you get called stuff to that level, it affects you as a kid.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why if any kid does that to my kid, I'm gonna kill his parents.
Oh my gosh. We're talking about love, brother.
We have to chop that word threatening people off, but
okay, bleep that out. Bleep that out. No. I would be so mad. I would definitely take it to his parents and I would make a scene.
oh yeah.
And and if the parents were then I would go clandestine, ruining their lives from behind the scenes.
Yeah. This is something that I pray about because I know that I'm the kind of person that is super confrontational. I will not shut up. And if there's people that I care about that are subjected to that kind of stuff, I have a really hard time controlling my rage. And so as a parent of a new child, knowing that someone might say horrible things to him one day, I pray about this because I know myself so well and I don't want to punch a 5-year-old in the throat.
Well, no, you can't punch a 5-year-old, but you can punch his parents in the throat. I read a story on Reddit about this kid who was being bullied, and he brought it to his father, the dad brought it to the kid's father. He was beating him up physically. And then the father was like, "Oh, well, if your kid can't defend himself, I'm not going to tell my kid to back off." So then the dad ended up beating the crap out of him. And then when he was done, he's like, "If you can't defend yourself, I'm not going to back off." So then the dad told his son, "Don't do it." And ever since then, it was the most, it felt good reading it. It felt like justice.
Justice has been served.
Yeah.
Man.
Sometimes, man, it just boggles the mind why people are so ignorant and they can't just live and let live.
Yeah. Anything that's against the norm, I guess, is not okay in their minds. Just doesn't make sense. Or, sorry, I don't want to say the norm. I mean, the media's norm, I guess, is what I'm going for.
Well,
because
really anything, even a slightly different opinion than yours, can offset people and completely go off on them, and it's ridiculous to me. It's that's what an opinion is. People are going to differ, but we're not back on Cain and Abel here, so that's wonderful.
Did you do the same kind of stuff as Sergio and growing up at school?
So I wasn't I was a little chubby in later elementary school, but I didn't really get big until high school. Is when I started to really put on weight. And so I didn't deal with that, but in late elementary school as well, I still really liked to have fun and do things that I found to be fun. And whether that was childish or not, I enjoyed them and I wanted to do them and do them with others who also enjoyed them. So I'd hang out with children, kids who were younger than me, by a couple of grades or whatever, who enjoyed the same things. And it didn't always work at recesses and stuff, especially when it became the broken up recesses and everything. So then it got to a point of people just making fun of me for that, and that's what changed my personality a lot and that got me through all my issues of depression and thoughts of suicide, because it's well, if I can't just be me and get isolated and stuff because of it. It's kind of like, well, what's the point of being here and doing anything?
Man, words matter, and people don't realize it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And like the Bible talks about it constantly.
It really does affect you, especially when you're younger. Stuff like that will go. It's just infuriating, but
Yep.
It truly, truly is.
anyways, on national, what was it today, Isaac? What did you say? National
Say something nice today.
Okay. Well, I want to say something nice to both of you guys. You two guys are some of the nicest guys I've ever met. Isaac, you're like a brother to me, and I always kind of saw you as the brother I never had. And Tyler, you're also like a brother to me, but like a different brother, you know? It's like you're like a little brother that I didn't know as well, and I was a little like mad because you're getting all the attention, but now like that we're older.
Wow. I'm the
I'm
new
playing.
plaything. I'm just kidding.
You know, I liked you as soon as I met you.
I know.
The best part of that, Sergio, is that with the whole brother mentioning, people literally mistaking us for brothers all the time.
It's true, man. That year that first year at Emmanuel bonded us like nothing else, I think.
It's true. And 10 years this September.
Holy cow, 10 years.
Right?
My say something nice is just gonna be a Bible verse because all the listeners need Jesus.
Yeah.
Agreed. Hear it, man.
And it's talking about the tongue. The tongue also is a fire, a world of evil among the parts of the body. It corrupts the whole person, sets the whole course of his life on fire, and is itself set on fire by hell. With the tongue we praise the Lord and Father, and with it we curse men who have been made in God's likeness. That's the verse. James 3.
Nice.
It's true. It's so true.
I want to say I appreciate you guys and that you have really taught me a lot, and I love that we actually all have differing personalities and opinions on things and different ways we've learned things, because it really helps me to grow in different ways and stuff, and I'm very appreciative of that. And I also want to, with everything we're talking about, bring up a different verse that is for my lesson tomorrow. And actually, really, I just was like, oh, this is a really good thing to go into with everything that we've mentioned and stuff. And so it comes from Matthew, and that whole like separating the sheep and the goats thing. And so the particular part is Jesus talking, and then the king will say to those on the right, "Come, you who are blessed by my Father, take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you looked after me. I was in prison, and you came to visit me." Then the righteous will answer him, "Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and invite you in, or needing clothes and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and go to visit you?" The king will reply, "Truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me." Whenever we give something to... Oh, that's going into the actual lesson part now. But yeah, just that idea that when we love others and care for others, and not just in the ways Jesus says, but also like them wholly, like their being, their, as I say, opinions as well, like it's very much reflecting him, and just hopefully you can do that with people and continue to defend people who can't defend themselves in particular ways, even if it's not necessarily tattling a top off someone's back, but you can record it and let people know like that injustice is happening as you did and stuff. So thanks to those who were able to record those kinds of things and who do that.
I would have kicked him in the chest.
Right, I'm always like, when I'm thinking about it, I'm like,
You would probably go to jail for assault on an officer.
That's
okay.
Right.
George Floyd would still be alive.
Yeah, it's true.
But would he would have one of the other cops just done it then? Who were
No.
watching?
I don't think so.
No, if a cop did it,
It's a brotherhood, man.
yeah.
They just protect
Also,
their own, and
The
then
cops. I read a tweet today, something about how. No, it wasn't a tweet. It was on Reddit. There were cops, a part of Kansas City protests
Mhm.
about Black Lives Matter, and they're in it and they're protesting, and someone commented like, all that we need to do to stop bad cops is for the good cops to stand up, and say something about it,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So like those guys were straight up. It was 2 police officers. They were in full police officer like gear, and they were
Yeah.
holding up a sign together, Black Lives Matter,
That's good.
and it's really, really. And it's all this COVID stuff. I'm sure is not making anything.
It's
easy.
not making it any better. And like, there's other stuff in the States with them. Like there was protests and striking about lifting the staying at home.
No,
state of
yeah,
emergency?
that people were protesting the what's it called, the quarantine or lock-in law. or
Yeah,
whatever.
the lockdown. And just saying like, oh, I need a haircut, and whatever.
Yeah.
Bigger things than that.
The wild thing is that
They're
they're
saying their
not.
liberties are at attack.
They're
and-
not. They're not arguing for their right to go back to work. They're arguing for other people's rights to go back to work so that they
Mhm.
can get a haircut.
Yeah.
They want to put other people's lives at risk so they can get a haircut.
Also, to bring it back to what you were saying, Isaac, I think it's really cool that as you go through life, people kind of get attached to your life that are different from you. And even like your spouse, most times, like how they talk about how opposites attract. Like our pursuit in life, especially the 4 of us, Rory's just been really quiet this episode. Is to become more like Jesus. And so having the different personalities coming into your life from us and other people and like your spouse, it's just making you more like Jesus, and it's such a beautiful thing. And like I wish people would see that even in their marriages, even if they're struggling, like because they're so opposite, it's just making you more like Jesus, because in marriage there's so much compromise and like adjusting to different fires and personalities that you're just being refined. And what you said just made me think of that. It's really important, and I don't think people realize it sometimes.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, thanks for joining us today, everybody. Hopefully that episode wasn't too much of a
It wasn't too
bummer
heavy.
or heavy, I
Yeah.
guess is the word, but
The moral of the
serious
story
issues.
is hate, and love everyone.
Yeah, serious issues going on in
Hate,
the world, and
love, and everyone else.
yeah. So, Tyler, who are we having come on next episode?
I think I just checked the calendar. I think we're supposed to be talking to Sergio's milky white hairy leg. But I really can't be too sure. I might have mixed up the dates.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
pretty sure next
I'll
week.
check with my thighs people and I'll get back to you guys.
All right, you
Okay.
can contact our people.
Sounds good.
See you
Have a
later.
great
Love you.
day.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.